Hi, Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dog, and I got another incredible broadcast for you today. It might be the best show I've ever done in my whole damn miserable life. So let me tell you, today I've got two superstars. Okay, I know you know Richie Newsome and Lucas Eastwood. No relation to Clint, I'm sure, but equally good looking. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Germaine Toyota, excuse me, Germaine Honda. Germaine Honda, Dublin, Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, my newest best friends, Lucas Eastwood and Richie Newsome. Hi, guys.
Jim, what's going on, buddy?
How you doing?
For the
Best damn
audience, you said the good-looking one. I'm actually Richie. Richie's the good-looking one, just so we know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, I gotta relate to Lucas. He and I have similar hairstyles.
Yeah. There goes that. It's always in vogue.
I forgot my hat.
Always
I
in
forgot my
vogue.
hairpiece.
You got to do that. I'll tell you. Well, today we're going to be talking about how you guys sell 650 units a month. I mean, is that a real number, or is that just blowing smoke out of both ends? What are we doing there, Richie?
You know what? It's not quite where we want to be at, Big Dog, but we came to the store back in January. I think the first month we did 370, 380. We did upper fours the next month, and then we've been 630 to 650 ever since, and we're on our way to 750 plus. So yeah, it's a real number, driven by daily processes and process adherence.
Okay, average people with great processes can do incredible things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now Lucas, all seriousness, you're the F&I director of several stores.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fantastic. What kind of F&I numbers we doing these days?
Well, at the Honda store currently, we're at about 1,350,
Uh, we
1,500 a car.
Yeah, we were close to 1,600 last month, so it's steadily moving up.
Okay, close to 1,600, and you're doing
Depends on whether
600.
you're product and reserve, but yeah, about 1,600 a car overall.
Is that pretty well divided amongst product and reserve, or is that all reserve? How's that coming?
Oh no, mostly product. Mostly product.
Yeah, about
Mostly
30% reserve, a little under, a little over 70% product.
Well, Richie, I have always said that average people with great processes can do incredible things.
Absolutely.
Tell me about your process.
From the F&I standpoint or the sales
Well,
standpoint?
let's talk about. There's several ways a customer can start the process, but and we know most of them do a little research online. But let's say we have a walk-in. They've already reached the dealership, and now they show up, and what happens?
So we feel, the most important step of the process to us is that customer interview, right? Like if you walk in, we want to sit down, find out from you what's important to you, right? Not what we want to sell you, but what you'd like to buy. So we go through a real good customer interview. Go up and we share that information with the sales manager. They help us select a vehicle that fits those needs. We have a staff of people here that we outsource that you could call lot techs that bring the vehicle up because we try not to leave the customer alone too much. We go out.
That's a pretty unique process. I'm doing business with literally hundreds, if not thousands, of dealerships, and usually it seems that the salesperson is responsible for at least bringing the car up or actually taking the customer to the car.
Yeah, if the customer wants to go out and look, if they're undecided, we'll do that. But we want to keep them comfortable. Bring the car up. We go out. The interview allows us to do a very tailored walk around, right? By you telling me what's important to you, I can hit on those features because you could walk around a car for 2 hours today with all the technology, right?
Oh,
We
absolutely.
go about what's important to you. We get them on a demo drive. During the demo drive, there's certain questions that we ask. A lot of that based on the interview. And we try a few of the trial balloons on the test drive, right? Bring them back. A lot of people, even if they've walked in, are very kind of know what they want. We move the trade appraisal up, so that's not a secret. It's nothing anybody's hiding. It's very interactive. We allow them to appraise the vehicle with us through some of our online systems, and then we present figures and close them up.
So how much authority do the salespeople have in the process, and how much is is totally management controlled?
I wouldn't give percentages, but the selection of the vehicle is in the management. A lot of that, and today it's not an issue, but it helps you control aging, right? Helps you control your floor plan. You don't want to sell the 3-day-old white Accord. You'd like to sell the aged white Accord. Also, the manager asks certain questions of the salesperson to help, further along that qualification. From a pricing standpoint, that's probably mainly management controlled. The appraisal is interactive, so the salesperson's involved in the first run. We'll use a system, whether it's Carfax or Kelley Blue Book, but we let you drive, right? We turn the screen around, you enter your license plate number, your serial number, you click and tell us where all the dents and dings are on the vehicle. Then it comes through and it gives a number. It gives a lot more validity. I stumbled upon the process, like when I was having my house appraised, I thought if I walked around with the appraiser, I could build my house up more. So we allow the customer to sell us on their trade. Salesperson presents that figure. If we need more than that, we'll get a manager involved. They have a certain set of questions they come out to ask if we need to give more, and we move forward from there.
Richie, this sounds to me like the road to the sale I grew up with.
Well, I think what's old is new again, Jim, right?
Imagine this is amazing because they're telling me that the road to the sale is dead.
Yeah, no, there's always relationships, and the road to the sale, the best thing it does is build a relationship, right? Like a true one. The interview process we use, it's not just what you want in a car, but it's why. Why is that important to you, right? And then you can start to find rapport. Rapport isn't you having a golf sticker and I say I golf too. Rapport is uncovered through these conversations that this is important because you want to go tailgate. And I'm assuming by your background, you're a Georgia Bulldogs fan, right? So now we start talking college football and and we do it, but that's how we do it. It's to build the relationship because relationships lead to repeat referral business. And for us, that's where we try and trigger in on this. We want to own our primary market area from all facets. I don't want to sell a car in North Carolina because I'm not going to service it here. I'm probably not going to get to trade here. I don't want to sell a car 50 miles away that I'm not going to service here and not trade here. So we really try and build that relationship.
So your marketing is really local market, Google local. You're concentrating on your local market.
Well, you own that before you expand, right? So you own this first, and then you go out and you go big game hunting. So yeah, exactly. So for us, it's owning that local market, and the relationship process is huge. We have a guy here that sells 50 plus cars a month and doesn't take a fresh up. He's cultivated his owner base over the years, and that's the model we want to drive people to. We want to drive them to, somewhere along the lines that it's become not okay to be a career salesperson, and that's a phenomenal job. When you're a career salesperson, you hit that point where they call you and say, "Hey Jim, I'm ready for another car." Right? That's the culture of growth we're trying to cultivate with our salespeople. A culture of process adherence. If you follow the process, the results are going to take.
A culture of growth. A culture of. Yeah, I never understood why salespeople don't I know a couple salespeople right now that sell upwards of 150 units a month.
Yeah. Insane.
I was the top salesperson in any dealership I personally worked at, but I was not a world record-setting salesperson by a long shot. But I never was number two, and it meant something. If I sold 30 cars a month, I had just knocked the cover off the ball with my Rolodex and my 10 key.
And that's the key, if you're committed to this business, how our top people are. You come in every day with appointments set up, repeat customers set up, referrals set up. They'll take a fresh up to help when we need it, right? But you don't come in every day wondering it. And that's the culture we're trying to build and grow upon is, let's grow our business that way. Let's grow our business through relationships. Let's grow our business through process adherence. Let's grow our business through a steady diet of learning. And then we'll be where we need to be.
Well, Lucas, now the F&I TO happens somewhere after selection, after what they've worked the deal. How's that handoff achieved?
So the handoff comes from the manager to finance. They'll go out and talk to the customer. A lot of times they're presented a range of payment, right? So you're trying to find their process where they belong rate-wise. Are they financing? Are they paying cash? What they're trying to accomplish. We bring them back. We go through a process with menu systems. obviously, from, you were talking about the old days and new, right? Like, so just amazing the tools that we have now that we can utilize for these folks and use them effectively with caring about them. And as long as they know you care and you do the process with them and go through everything step by step with them, they will listen, right? They all of a sudden become the advocate of what you're trying to accomplish anyway, right?
So they're coming in with the payment range, and we're more interested. They're coming in with the payment range to the finance manager.
That's right.
Mr.
And when we talked earlier about the road to the sale not changing, Jim, what's changed is technology has sped it up, right? The appraisal process is sped up. The vehicle selection is sped up. So that's what's nice. It's the same process, but it's much quicker for the customer. In the same way in finance.
Have you moved any of the steps out of? Have you moved any of the steps out of the previous order? I mean,
we moved the appraisal up because that's most customers' big fear. Pricing's online, right? Pricing for the most part is transparent. You can get a payment calculator. Most websites have them, but the trade is the one where the customers are still the most fearful. And the reason we have moved it up, and the reason we use a third-party validator, a customer's more likely to believe Carfax or Kelley Blue Book than what they are you or I or the three of us.
I totally agree that a third-party validation, it's not us saying it. It's an authoritative, disinterested third party verifying it.
Yeah. And for F&I, what we've added in the appraisal process, we ask the questions. Does this have an appearance package? Does this have a wheel tire protection? Does this have a maintenance plan? So we plant those seeds that having those, which they do, brings more money on your trade-in.
I've taught that so many years. Mr. Customer, does this car have the environmental protection package? We pay a lot more for cars that have that. I need to be able to tell my professional buyer that it has that package.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And moving that in plants those seeds. So part of Lucas's interview is basically, talking about that because they do a very good interview to tailor the loan program, right? Because once again, we personalize it. And now that seed's been said early because it's the truth. You pay more for that vehicle. Now they understand there's more benefit than just the vehicle breaking down. There's enhanced resale value from it.
And you go into the interview of, do they have pets? How many miles do they drive per year? What do they expect out of the transaction as well?
What do they expect out of a transaction? And you're using a menu of some sort, I would imagine.
Currently, we use Darwin. We've used Fusion and Darwin.
Fantastic. So the menu is presented, Mr. Customer, this is a mandatory disclosure of your financial options required by the Federal Trade Commission, and you get right into it.
Well, absolutely. Well, when we sit them down, you go over their information, right? You get to know the customer. You make sure that all of their information's correct, and then you go into the menu process, right? You want to settle into communication with them and get to know the customer, right? And let them understand that you care about what you're trying to accomplish and what they're trying to accomplish.
How long does it take to turn a customer in finance?
In finance, 20 to 30 minutes.
That's the way it should be. Now you talk about the appraisal concept. A lot of dealers don't realize that you can move that process around and move it up in the sale. How early? I know you said you moved it up. How early is the appraisal taking place?
It is. So, and we vary by customer. We talk about the trade early because we think there's a lot that you can learn from the trade. And there's times that we'll go into the appraisal, right, possibly even before vehicle selection if it's that important. But it is typically done, in or around the time that we get back from the test drive. Then we have them. It's much easier to devalue their vehicle. And I don't mean it in a bad way, devalue, but you've just driven this brand new 2021, 2022 vehicle. Your 2017 doesn't seem as nice now. So if we can get it in that stage, and like we said, we put them in the driver's seat, now they realize, oh man, maybe my car is a little more rough than I thought it was. Maybe it does have a few more blemishes than I thought it was. Maybe the wheels are a little more acidic than I thought they were. So we try and get that anchor point of at least getting the walk around on the new vehicle done, so they've got a comparable. But we'll move up. If you walk in and the demand to know what your trade's worth. We're not going to fight you. We're going to go with the blow, right?
When I was working with Lynn Hickey Dodge at Oklahoma City back in the 90s, when they set the Guinness Book of Records, I wish I could take credit for that, but I had nothing. I had nothing to do with it. They did that
modest.
No. They did that just before they met me. I was there, but we had a wholesaler that I trained that came by, and his name was Billy Facillo.
Really?
Yeah. Billy didn't have a franchise yet. He was studying the Lynn Hickey. And what Lynn Hickey actually had college kids with knee socks and shorts park your car, valet parking, but they actually appraised the car when they valeted it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So I've always been an advocate of moving the appraisal up, and you're one of the first dealers I've heard that's actually doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for us, we think it's important. It's kind of the elephant in the room, and one way or another, you're not going to negotiate on two things, right or wrong. If you're going to negotiate on the price of the new car or the price of the trade or both. So if we can move it up and use third-party validators, it helps take that fear away from the guest, right? And that's what we want to do. It's the same thing with F&I. We use a lot of third-party data in the F&I room. We don't tell them that we think you should have an extended service contract or this. We show you data of where, in our system shows it, of where the vehicle is most likely to break down, what those pain points are, right? And that's why it's personalized for everyone based on your driving habits, based on where you drive. They're potholes or they're not potholes. You're mostly freeway, you're mostly highway, you're mostly country roads, back roads, suburbs. That all factors into a personalized protection plan for the customers.
Yeah, the highest part of a repair curve is what, 42 months, Lucas?
Correct.
Yeah, 42 months is when the major repairs set in. So yeah, what products are you selling?
So we sell vehicle service contract, tire and wheel program, key replacement gap, maintenance program,
and fabric, interior, exterior.
Defense, interior, exterior protectant.
Yeah. You do the lease and protection.
Lease and protection on leases.
Yeah.
And also my guys.
I'm not familiar with lease and protection. Tell me about that product.
Lease and protection basically comes to the end of the lease. So if at the end of the lease you can get dinged for dents, scratches, minor rips and tears, things along those lines,
I understand.
It takes care of any of those bills that you can get in the mail at the end of the lease when you turn it in.
Yeah, Mr.
It's
Customer,
important to have because that's how
your
those
contract
companies are recouping money.
Your contract with the lessor requires you keep this car mechanically and cosmetically
sound.
Right.
That's right. So it protects against those bills.
It protects against all of that. So you're running $1,350 a unit in a Honda store.
Probably about $1,500-$1,600, but
15, 16. So you're firing the you're firing the $1,300 provider, the box. So the $1,300 guy or gal gets fired. So
I'm not firing him. Yeah. I just got to depend on the
$1,350 month to date. So we'll get where we need to be.
When I was in F&I, and I wasn't a department head for the last 2 years I was in the business, but when I was in the box at the Volvo store, we had a system called a 160W, and I'd be sitting in my F&I office working with a customer, and a message would come back in my screen. Ziegler put the service contract back in the deal. The director could see all your screens.
Yeah. So how Luke structures it, ours is a little bit different. We have Luke and we have an assistant director / production manager. So he structures, after the business manager goes out and interviews, they sit down with Luke, and it's no different than a car deal. He structures the menu for them. He knows based on this customer's needs, here's what's important, here's not. Then before they take anything off, we have a production manager or Luke that will go in and talk to that customer. Well, this was important to you in an interview. So we work it like a car deal. We essentially TO the F&I deal. And the F&I manager, now they have leeway, but ideally don't discount and don't take anything off until we get a second face in there to talk to the customer.
Okay, so you're TOing in F&I.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Pre-TO and after.
Yeah.
That that absolutely astounds me that so many dealerships don't have a second face show up in the F&I office.
Yeah.
And they should.
Yeah,
It makes a dramatic difference.
Dramatic difference.
Support for all of them, right? So support for your finance managers. Here, they all feel like a team. The stores I'm over, they are a team. They know that they can depend on each other.
Absolutely.
And
you've got a fiduciary responsibility to the customer, right? Like you need someone to come in and reiterate what their goals were to them. And Jim, is this still important to you? You know, we spoke earlier, getting the most money for resale was important to you. And you know, and sometimes you're too close to it when you're in the deal. So we owe it to the customers to have a second customer come in and second face come in and make sure that we were clear on their goals and we're helping them achieve their goals.
I hope the audience is paying attention, because you're getting some subtle wisdom here that so many dealerships are not doing. And you know, and nothing's new, nothing's been reinvented. I mean, we're talking basic blocking and tackling here, but in the car business, we don't have a knowing problem, we have a doing problem.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
How about your marketing, Richie? How are you getting these people in? 650 units a month, shooting for 700. You don't even think you're at maximum performance.
No. So we, prior to this chip crisis, our marketing plan changed as our inventory dropped. We do a lot in digital. We start with the owner base, though. Like I told you, we start with the owner base because retention is important. Then we expand out into our primary market area. Okay, we want to dominate that, and then we do a lot in the digital space. We have some radio campaigns as people are back in the cars and listening. We're not heavy in traditional, but we think there's a place for TV and radio. But a lot of ours is really focused on conquesting Honda owners in our primary market area. We think if we get them in, we really believe in the experience that we provide, right? From all facets, from variable to fixed, we think we have a great experience. So we really focus on that primary market area, conquesting those other Honda owners that live in that market area. And then we obviously buy the third-party leads. We brought on in January when we came over a BDC manager. She's doubled so far she's doubled the closing percentage. So, that's important because you don't have to buy as many leads if you can close higher. And we really focus, part of our compensation plan is focused on repeat and referral customers. So the salespeople are highly encouraged to generate, the repeat business and referveral business.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you how you're getting inventory. I know Honda's supplying you some new vehicles, but you're certainly not getting what you were getting.
No, we had well over 700 units in January, and we had 95 on the ground today.
So yeah, it's all turn and burn.
It is.
Before we got on the air, I was talking about Dyer and Dyer Volvo back in the 80s when we hit 840 units. Volvo didn't supply those units. We had to go find those units.
Yeah. I mean, and we've done our best to get them, and we've pivoted. We've got some unique acquisition strategies in used cars. So, we're trying to play that teeter-totter. If new is going to be down, we're going to have to get used up, right? Because we don't back away from our goals. Our goals are 650, then 700, then 750. So we got to find the market for that.
There's 1,000 in cards. Uh-oh. Okay, I think I probably lost Luke and Richie for a moment. Let's see if they come on back. Okay, we're talking with Luke and Richie from Germaine Honda in Dublin, Ohio. 650 units a month with some absolutely astounding grosses. I mean, this dealership is a juggernaut. And if you've been watching the broadcast, what you've heard so far is they're very traditional in their processes. They're using technology enablement. They're using the best, most modern technology, the best CRMs, the best everything. But still in all, it's the basic blocking and tackling that the car business has been using and enjoying for years. from meet and greet the customer to tail lights. Now, one thing you probably heard Richie Newsome say a second ago is that their numbers improved dramatically when they reinstituted the BDC. Now, me personally, I'm a believer in Business Development Center. I like to call it Business Communication Center. You know, the guys are back. Okay, let's see if we got them here. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you got mad at me.
No, we had a power surge. The darn cicadas.
I was
Cicadas,
recapping what we've talked about so far, and
No,
yeah,
you're good, my friend.
I was tap dancing for a second there. It wasn't bad.
No,
Wasn't
you're
bad
good.
at all, you know. So here okay, I don't want to do that. Let me get you guys. There we go, equal
Yeah,
screen.
there we go.
Okay.
We're good.
Before you blipped out on me, we were talking about your BDC.
Yeah, we brought the store. You know, we were blessed because the store was ran well by the previous general manager, right? And so when we came in, a lot of things were already in place, and we just had a few tweaks that we could make. So we went with the BDC manager. We restructured our internet process. You know, changed a few things in there. You know, used video, used pictures and texting. I mean, kind of brought it a little bit, you know, further along than what it was. And we've kind of doubled the closing percentage in that range. So by nature now, you know, once again, I talk about it all the time. On our primary market area, we can keep bringing in that radius until we just dominate our area. Then we can go out. So the BDC has been real helpful.
Is 1,000 units a reality for you?
It will be, yeah, absolutely. It will be.
I've always had a reputation for growing dealerships to the big numbers. And I've had a number of dealerships that I was involved. I don't take credit for, you had to have talented people to start with, but a number of dealerships I've worked with through the years have achieved and surpassed 1,000 units. And like you, every one of them did it in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
I've always said you don't need to sneak up on the numbers. You know, you just explode into the numbers. So
absolutely.
To get to 1,000 units, what's going to have to change? What's going to have to accelerate?
So first and foremost, you know, we have to get the vehicles, right? I mean, we have to get outside of getting the vehicles. You know, we've got a systematic game plan. I believe that you build a variable operation from F&I out. Okay, so we started here. We had 5 business managers total. Was it 5? Yeah. We now have 8 producers, a production manager, and Lucas. So once you do that,
I hate that title, by the way.
Yeah.
Business manager. What a wimpy ass title that is. But okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I met the business manager in your dealership. That's generally somebody in the back office with a bad disposition.
You're not wrong, but we build from that out. So as we increase that and optimize that, it allows you to get a little more aggressive and take some deals on the front, right? Because to sell 1,000 vehicles, they're not all at sticker. I mean, you know, there's only so much piece of that pie that you can get. So for us, if we build that strong F&I core, then we get that strong used car market piece, which, you know, then we can start to take more new car vehicles, and you take what makes sense. Like you say, don't miss a vehicle that has a trade-in, right? Let's feed the used car department. If we're going to overpay, let's overpay to our customer in front of us, not someone at the auction that we help sell a car to. So that's kind of the growth and strategy. You know, we'll need to ramp up the inventory. We'll need to, you know, probably at that point, as we get closer to that, we got to add more F&I. But getting to 1,000, you know, it's the next step in the marketing plan, right? It's dominating our current PMA and getting all that's there, and then just creeping out outside of that and getting more and more and more. And, you know, there's different ways to do that. I don't believe in selling a bunch of cars to enterprise, you know, to get my number, right? Like I want to do 1,000 retail deals, face to face with the customers, you know, coming through full retail lease contracts.
Well, the stats pretty well show that a car is sold an average of 3 or 4 times in its lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And the person that sold it last made as much money as the first 3 put together.
Yeah, probably so.
so,
Probably so.
where I'm leading with that statement is, are you stretching and keeping some units you used to wholesale?
No, we do. Much to F&I chagrin, we do. Yeah. So yeah, we do keep those vehicles. We're currently searching for a product to offer on some of those older, higher mild vehicles. An extended service contract.
I've got one. When we get off the air.
Yeah, send it to us. But that's a way to grow the business. We don't want to wholesale anything. I mean, take this market aside where you can easily flip wholesale profit in general. You don't want to wholesale anything, right? It's just not it's not what you want to do. I don't care if it's a $500 car, because I care less about what you buy. I want to bring you as a customer into our family. Because at some point, that $500 car is a $5,000 car, is a $25,000 car, is a $50,000 car. So we want to open our arms up and welcome every price point into our family.
I have in my psyche something I call behind the fence cars.
Yeah.
If I'm running a dealership, I'm going to have some inventory behind the fence.
You got to.
Which brings me to the next question, Luke. Everybody doesn't have perfect credit. We used to call people derogatory names: bogues, drex, roaches, credit criminal. We don't do that anymore. They're credit challenged, equity impaired. How are you dealing with credit challenges?
Well, we have good relationships with a lot of banks. We work on every customer and treat them just like the top tier customer that they deserve to be treated, right?
I have been to Dublin, Ohio.
Yes, sir. we still have those credit challenges. But we do have a high market for good credit. But we work the bank. We work the bank, and we work them hard. We go after everything.
Luke does a good job of leveraging his portfolio, right? Getting a deal hungs will all start through relationships. And Luke,
tell me about that.
Yeah, Luke's as good as they are at building a relationship. We talked off the air about a lot of people coming into this role without relationships, looking at what dealer tracker route one spit back, maybe not knowing how to. Luke can leverage. Hey, we sent you Ziegler that's an 800 beacon, and Richie Newsome's a 700 beacon. We need to get this guy done. That's a 5. It's all portfolio, right? Every bank will take so much A, B, C, D paper, but you got to have the relationship to stretch that in your favor. And sometimes you got to give up a little bit of money to send them the ones to get those ones spot. So Luke does a phenomenal job managing our portfolio of business and the relationships.
I can't tell you how many times I'd have a lender say, well, Jim, I approved that Jenkins deal. Well, I didn't give it to you, though. I know you approved it, but they had a 750 credit score, and I had one of them with a 630 that you turned down. I had to package those two together with another lender.
Package them together, yeah. Yeah.
I don't ever say, look, I didn't give it to you. I said, no, I had to give it to another lender because they took both the deals.
Same way. Yep, that's how we look at it. And that's where I tell you, going back, it's where him and our production manager structure the deal first. He knows where he needs to send his deals. He knows which relationships he needs to cultivate. He knows which ones aren't producing, returning the favor, for lack of a better word. So that's why they're involved so early in the F&I deal to structure that.
When Richard Dyer built Dyer & Dyer, Volvo in Atlanta was legendary. And when he built that dealership to those big, huge numbers, the entire dealership revolved around F&I. We have 7 F&I managers and 2 sales managers.
As it should, yeah.
So it sounds to me like you are replicating that, a modern day version of that formula.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in F&I, as Luke has, and I think if that's not just solid from numbers, right? Solid from culture, right? Solid from the guest experience, solid from managing your bank portfolio. If that's solid, you can grow your business all around it. It's the foundation. If it's weak, you can't. If it's going to crumble, or you can't hang paper, or, the experience for the customer is not good in there, right? Or you're not doing the right things. If you're not legal, ethical, and morally right, the dealership will crumble. So we build from F&I out. And then as we get bigger, we add. We're at 8 faster than we thought we would be. Yeah. As we get to 750, 800, we're going to approach that 10 number, and go from there. But that's, and the more you need, the harder it gets to find a high quality person, right? So we're all about bringing the right people into the organization, and then process adherence. They follow the process, the results take care of themselves.
Now, you told me earlier you won't have a sales manager that hasn't been through the F&I department.
No, they just need to go through there. I mean, it's crucial to us. There's so many. One, first and foremost, you need to be able to look at a deal and be what I call a deal architect. Like, you need to know which bank I can get this hung. Where can this advance be? Where you need to know, like we talked earlier. Okay, maybe I can go to Bank A, but Bank X is going to buy this 630 as well. So let me structure. So you need to have that knowledge and understanding of what happens in that portfolio management, and the best way to optimize and maximize and take care of the customer.
It's amazing that, I can't envision accepting a call back from a computer and not calling and saying, let me speak to the credit supervisor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, and I would call the credit supervisor, and if they were local, I'd say, let's go to lunch. We're going to go to Pilgrim Steakhouse and bring your credit card.
Yeah.
Never buy a banker lunch. don't want to confuse who's the customer here relationship.
Right.
And I'd always have 2 or 3 deals under my arm when we had lunch.
No, yeah, absolutely. We at our prior location, the buying center was in Cincinnati, about an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and we'd go down once every other month with a box of deals and have lunch with them and leave with almost everything hung.
With everything.
Oh my God, I can't remember. I'm jumping in my car and driving to GMAC and bursting through the doors. You credit supervisor right now.
Right?
Am I not your biggest customer in Atlanta?
Uh-huh.
I don't see that bravado today. You guys seem to have recaptured it.
We just never lost it.
You gotta build it. Takes time.
Yeah.
You made a statement earlier, Richie, and I've done a little research on Germaine Honda, and I know that to be true. You said you took over a well-run store.
I did.
You didn't say, hey, look, I took over a loser and built it. No, you say I took over a dealership that was winning and we won more.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
When I started Ziegler Super Systems 36 years ago, I envisioned that every loser in the business was going to hire me.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
It was all the dealers that were already winning.
I want to run up the score.
That's right.
It was amazing because the losers are going to stay the way they are. They're never, and there are people listening to this broadcast right now. They're not going to get what you are saying.
No, and and we were blessed, right? I mean, the previous GM, phenomenal job. He got promoted into role corporate. We had the opportunity to come here. A few things we do different than what he did, which we were able to add on to. Some things he did better than us that we were able to keep in place and maintain, right? And we're able to take off and soar.
Well, that is so important. So you got electronic marketing. You're acquiring inventory. You're bonusing salespeople to help you acquire inventories, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
And their pay plan is just structured. If they bring a repeat customer in, that repeat customer's trading, right? So we use the systems to drag those in. They're paid more for those transactions. We have a separate department that acquires vehicles from customers only off the street, for lack of a better term. They're buying, a vehicle to vehicle and a half a day, 30 to 40 a month, that, we're able to bring in, physically appraise, walk the customer through the process, how we talked about earlier, get them involved, and, we're getting 30 to 40 a month that way. And we're picking up, our retention rates, so we're bringing in more repeat customers and helping to feed that used car monster.
I saw a dealer recently advertising lease return center.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. What a great idea. I recently got out of a personal lease on an Audi Q7.
Oh, nice.
And I got out of the lease because of the value of used cars right now.
Yeah.
I got out of that lease halfway through.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane.
I got a refund check on the balance.
No, it's so good for the customer right now. And and that's the true win-win, right? Like we bring the vehicle in, customer gets a tremendous amount of money for it. We still pay a little bit less than auction. We don't incur auction fees, transportation, post-sale inspection, all those. It's a win-win-win all the way around.
Are you using any of the online auction services, ACV or any of those?
We do. Gosh, I'm trying to think of the one that they use here. It's I can't remember what it is. I think it's Trade Offer, something like that. We don't
Trade
do
Offer is a good
Yeah.
company. Car Offer.
Car Offer, yes. We use
Car
Car
Offer,
Offer. We just started using them. Manheim has a tool that they put it up on, and when it hits so many days old. But but it's a multifaceted. I mean, we have salespeople working. We have the acquisition center working. We're looking at different avenues of driving traffic into that. We're looking at all, like you said, all the lease vehicles that are 12 months old that now have equity in it, right? That you can bring in and put in a new vehicle. And so we're looking at every angle when it comes to.
I never would have had equity in that Audi. I never would have had equity in the way it was. 2019 Audi Q7, $70,000 vehicle. I got out of it, short of halfway through, which brings me to the next thing. You mentioned pay plans.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said a pay plan is a job description.
It is.
What? Okay. First of all, I don't want to get into the specific numbers of how much your people are making. I already know they're being paid handsomely. I've already got my ear to that. But without mentioning the numbers, what is the emphasis in your pay plan for salespeople, managers, and finance?
So I'll start with salespeople, right? You want to focus on driving in your repeat referral business. You want to focus on both the manufacturer's customer satisfaction index and your online scores, right? And then outside of that, you really want to focus at a store like this, driving the volume. So it goes up as volume goes up, right? And the pay plan is every unit pays a little bit more. So you don't lay down. There's not a 5-unit tier, 7-unit tier. Unit 17 pays more than Unit 16. Unit 49 pays more than Unit 48. So it works its way up, but it keeps them driving volume. It keeps them focusing on their guest experience and focusing on bringing it in. We have some tweaks. We've been here 5 months. Eventually, what will be in there is what is the other store. Your trade look to book will impact your pay plan, but also how many appraisals you have. So out of that, if you sold 20 people, how many cars we appraise? Because we want to appraise every car. I don't care if you're trading or not. Jim, you got one in the driveway we can appraise, right? And then how many of those we capture. So those are the next steps that we put in the pay plan.
What a great question. So many people never ask that. Do you have another car at home you might consider selling us? I never say trade, selling us. We're buying your car to help you buy our car,
And then our managers, though, it's really simple. They're focused literally on unit production, income production, and customer satisfaction. You don't want people trying to overwork their pay plan, right? So for them, it's real simple. Here's what we focus on.
That's difficult in F&I.
It is.
F&I people work their pay plan. That's
They do. So our and I'll let Luke go over it. I mean, like I said, not the numbers, but it's simple and keeps them focused, right? You don't want to have a pie chart to figure out how much money I've made, and you don't want to be upset that a deal costs you money either, right? So it's important that everybody is aligned. The salespeople, their pay plans, their job description. The managers have certain bonuses they can hit on certain things that drive from the guest experience or from how many our trade-ins are that we appraise, like we talked about, what our look to book is, their individual F&I PRU number, so that way you don't have a guy mailing it in getting carried, right? So there's little bonuses they can hit in there. But at the end of the day, everyone works together and drives toward that overall big number.
Tell me about pay plans, Luke.
Finance focuses, PRU, so they're average. And then I do everything based on percentages with vehicle service contract sales. Certain percentages get a better bump, gap percentages, and then aftermarket percentages. I try and simplify it, right? You don't want to tear out for everything, but 3 main components, then PRU, and they all do very well.
Okay, now in Ohio, a service contract, parts and labor agreement is a negotiable item. Or how much leeway do your people have on negotiation?
$1,500.
Okay.
So I give them. It's a tight realm, right? So where a lot of dealerships actually have an open market to it, it can go to a percentage of the car. So if the car is 40 grand, you could sell it for a huge difference, right? With the Germaine family, we believe in keeping it fair for all and keeping that margin really tight. And but
Good, good process. You don't get deceptive trade practice lawsuits.
That's right.
because
We don't gouge anybody. And,
no gouging, no
you know,
nothing.
and typically the producer won't discount the product until he talks to Luke or our production manager.
Correct.
Not in a bad way, like they can, but ideally they don't move off that first pencil of how we set up the menu until they at least touch base with Lucas or our assistant director.
Okay, very good. When I was department head, I set up my departments that way.
Yeah.
There had to be a TO back to me, and
yes.
And it's funny. I wouldn't even be in the business I'm in right now if the dealer hadn't changed my pay plan. I'd still be in the retail end.
Speaking of that, Luke, we got to talk after
the meeting. But when you get that speech about we're going to take money out of one pocket and put it in your other pocket,
I've gotten a lot of good finance managers because of that, right?
Yeah, we do.
But I believe in protecting their plan. Once we
I have left more than one dealership because I overperformed the pay plan. You have to, and as a the one dealership that I left actually hired me back as a consultant for more than they were paying me.
That's funny.
So we're talking about many things. What should we talk about that we haven't discussed, Richie?
I think a big one that we haven't delved a lot into, and we'll do F&I specific, but it's dealership wide, is really the culture that Luke's builds.
The culture. Okay, let's
and I'll let him dig into it, but there's no prima donnas. There's no separate pay plans. There's no backroom deals. There's no, you get more than I get type of deal. He's upfront with everyone. He's transparent with everyone. And that builds a trust amongst the guys, and I'll let him talk about it to where, they're not, well, I know Jim's got a better pay plan than me, and that's BS. And that's, they're all on the same page. And then
you got certain people that get to feel that they're bulletproof and invisible.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
that just doesn't exist. We're all,
I always said, once you have the law, there's no room for outlaws.
That's right. That's right.
I'll let Luke go over, but they're all on an even playing field.
Yeah. You got to keep fair and balance, right? And once everybody knows, the one thing I used to hate, so I've been in the car business a long time, right? So I always used to hate when you felt like you had to look over your shoulder to figure out what somebody's gouging out of you, right? Or take the knife out because somebody took this money away, whatever. I want to make sure everything is exactly clear. Everybody understands 100% where they are. From a team perspective, they all know they can talk to each other about what I could care less if they talk about their pay. Right. They can talk about it. They can communicate about it. They all have the same thing. They just got to perform better to get more. And they know what they need to do to get there. Right. And so you build that culture and it raises the tide, right? Those tides raise all ships, right? So when they all see somebody doing better and they all know what that created for that individual, they all want to get there. Right?
Well, that's the entire Germaine organization. I know a lot of people in several stores.
Yeah.
And that is the Germaine corporate culture.
No, it is. And it's driven down. And what having this, and I'll just use the same pay plan, right? Now they talk about it because you can tell everyone not to talk about the pay plans, but they do, right?
Right.
Now they realize Luke didn't lie to him, or Richie didn't lie to him, or Marcello didn't lie to him. Dude, you get a lot of trust out of that. I mean, you get a lot of buy-in out of the fact, wait a minute, they are right. All 8 of us are paid, have the same pay structure, right? Have the same numbers. So then when you give them additional training or you give them feedback or you change something in their process, they're bought in because you didn't lie to them on the core fundamental, with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Being able to take care of their family, it's the same for everybody. So now they're bought in when you want to make additional changes or you want to introduce something or how we have here, we call it a growth mindset culture. We want more. Like we don't we don't think what we're doing is a good job, right? We want more, but we know more is there. So when you've got that buy-in and built that trust with them, now they understand when you go say, hey guys, look, 13 was good, we're going to 15. Man, 15 is great, we're going to 17. They believe that it's there now, because of that simple thing of taking care of them on a fundamental level and not lying to them and having that trust and transparency.
You gotta have that. Luke, is there anything we haven't talked about that we should talk about? Culture is a very important part of it. What else?
Well, culture is probably the most important thing to me, but when it comes down to the process, when it comes down to processes, right? So we go into recruiting of the individuals, finding individuals, making sure that we're consistently looking for top talent, right? So if I've never turned down top talent, I find a space, right?
Find a space.
So if we're always growing, anytime you can have that growth, you take it. It's just like if you were a Major League Baseball team, you're not going to turn down the best pitcher coming down, right? You're going to find room and figure it out. And
as an example of that, we went from 6 to 7 to 8. Okay, so there's some people, when you see touches drop, right, you get concerned. Luke all said it, he gave them 4-day work weeks, which is next unheard of, especially in a busy metro store, right?
In the car business. Quit it.
So these guys, as long
I
as
might come out of retirement here.
buddy,
life balance is important too, right?
But he takes care of them because we're a busy store. Your late day is a late day. You are here, right? So, now everyone, has, as long as your contracts in transit are good, as long as your deals are turned, you get 2 days off in a row and we're closed Sunday. So, a 4-day work week's, one, it's a very attractive thing, but it's giving back to them for all that they do. And then we're constantly, like you said, recruiting. We constantly stay in touch. Like, we might not need Jim now, but we're going to text Jim every so often to see how he's doing. And one day the time's going to be right where he just outperformed his pay plan and we need somebody. And we've got this 6-month, 8-month, 12-month, 2-year, 4-year relationship of talking. And then we bring you on in. And that's, you win with people. And that's the first and foremost, you get the right people, like you said earlier, and then you put them in the right process and the magic can happen.
Wow.
Fact.
I love it. Well, believe it or not, we have been going at almost an hour already.
Oh my goodness.
It just went.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely impressed with both of you personally, your organizational skills. I hope the people in the audience, and this will be all over social media. Generally, a show like this, we get few people on the initial broadcast and thousands of people watch the replays.
Yeah.
So you're looking for top talent right now. Is that true?
We're always looking for talent. Yeah.
Guys, this is Germaine Honda, Dublin, Ohio. They have a generous pay plan. They hire top talent, and they don't mess with you.
No, you don't.
So anyway, this is Luke Eastwood. No relation to Clint, right?
No.
My second cousin.
Second cousin. There you go.
Yeah.
Make my day. Yeah, absolutely. Stick around a second, guys. We'll visit for a second.